TIFU using the love seat. I convinced my father to watch the Odyssey with me. What I expected to be a wholesome father-son bonding experience ended up being an awkward situation that became nightmare fuel. My fuck-up was set in motion the moment my dad and I arrived at the cinema and realized the Odyssey was almost sold out. It was opening weekend. I should've booked online in advance, but it was the first screening of the day and I thought not many people were gonna show up for the earliest show. I was wrong. Limited seats were available. My dad and I had one of two choices. Choice number 1, we select any of the normal seats available, but then we would not be sitting together. Choice number 2, we select the love seat, which is basically 2 seats merged into one so that couples can sit as close to each other as possible. My dad opted for the love seat instead of the random seats that would separate us. Before I could even think of suggesting anything else, my dad said if I was worried about what strangers might think, then I should stop because no one was gonna pay any attention to us. Cut to my dad and I awkwardly moving down a crowded row. My dad was leading the way. We were repeatedly saying excuse me or sorry because people had to make space for us to pass. Would my dad not interrupt his own sorry or excuse me to ask a random girl if the available seat next to her was the seat reserved for couples? The girl looked confused at first, but then she nodded. My dad turned to me and said, "Found the love seat." I was practically hiding my face behind my popcorn at that moment. As my dad and I sat down, he thanked the girl for assisting him, and then he decided to specifically introduce me as his son, which would have been fine if that was where it ended. However, my dad thought it would be funny to tell the girl how afraid I was that people were think we were together. I could tell the girl was caught off guard by the continuation of the conversation, but she was kind enough to at least pretend she cared. My dad attempted to include me in the conversation by encouraging me to repeat the word I used earlier when the two of us were still debating the love seat situation. I refused to repeat the word, but my dad kept asking until I finally said twink, dad twink. My dad snapped his fingers like he just heard me say something that was on the tip of his tongue before he made it clear to the girl that even though we're sitting where couples usually sit, we were not twinking. I interrupted my dad and made him aware that he might be bothering the girl. My dad apologized and left the girl alone. I thought the worst was over until my dad leaned in during the movie and quietly asked if it was twinking if a father wanted to put his arm around the shoulder of his son in the love seat. I said the word was twink and he was using it wrong, but I was okay with my dad putting his arm around my shoulder. Not gonna lie, the experience was somewhat embarrassing, but I still appreciated spending time with my dad. Anyway, not the craziest fuck up compared to what I've seen on here, but it definitely had moments I wished never happened. Lol. TLDR went to the movies with my dad, didn't book seats in advance. Limited seats were available, specifically the love seat, which is meant for couples. My dad and I were forced to use the love seat, which prompted him to tell the random person next to us how uncomfortable I was and how the two of us were not twinks, or as he put it, twinking.